thanks for coming out today, Lou. We have a lot of catching up to do. This is October 26, 2011, all right? And we're just starting this documentation of what's happened up to this point. And I want you to go way back. Start with who's Lou Manzo up until July 23rd, 2009.
Very good. I'll fast forward a lot of the early stuff. I was born and raised in Jersey City, New Jersey, in the west side section of the city. Went to PS 17, St. Aloysius Grammar School, Hudson Catholic High School, Jersey City State College, and did some postgraduate work at Rutgers, New Brunswick. Initially, I was going to be a health education teacher, but my focus shifted and I took an interest into public health, and I went into a career in the public health field. Became a registered environmental health specialist with the city of Jersey City. Wound up becoming the chief of the health department there, and somewhere along that line I engaged in politics. I sought public office as a councilman in the city, was unsuccessful, and then I ran as...
Now, what year is this?
This is getting probably around 1979, actually 1989.
All right, so you're young then. You're like 25 or something.
Yeah. Actually, I was frustrated with a lot of the problems with environmental stuff in the city, Jersey City being impacted by a lot of chemical dumpers and whatnot, chromium. And I wanted to bring that attention into public office, and that's why I ran. I lost the council election, but a few years later, I wound up running independently as a freeholder in the primary and had an upset win there, and I was successful in becoming a Hudson County freeholder. I represented a portion of Bayonne at that time, and actually I had a woman helping me from Bayonne at the time, Mrs. Miglaccio. She used to own the funeral home in Bayonne, and she won me 4 districts in Bayonne, and that and among a couple of other key districts in Jersey City was enough to upset.
That wasn't from her clients, was it?
Well, I hope not. But it was enough to win what was a major upset at the time in the election against the Hudson County Democratic Organization. I focused mainly on freeholder environmental issues. I was the chairman of the Freeholder Environmental Committee, and my focus became to get rid of what Hudson County was going to do. They were going to build a incinerator, and I was against it. To show you the success I had, when I initially went in, I asked the board to just defeat the ordinance to support the incinerator, and I was voted down 8-1. And I began a series of hearings and meetings and invited my staunchest critics to be on my committee. And 2 years later, we redid the vote at a crucial time. It was time to bond and fund the incinerator. And the vote was virtually 9-0. The board agreed with my conclusions that we shouldn't build an incinerator. I was very proud of that. And it's
well, people that are not from Jersey City might be surprised to know you don't have an incinerator.
That's right.
But you have an incinerator authority.
well, yes, they were preparing for that, but they use that now as a offset to do their snow clearance and other environmental things in the town. We were, I was very happy about that. I ran for mayor a myriad of times in Jersey City, 5 times, including the last time, 2009, which this whole centerpiece of my prosecution focused on. But in between there, I managed to support...
Well, one of the famous times, there was 12 Democrats.
Oh, yes.
Okay? And 2 of them were you and your brother.
Yes. That was the first time. It was also a special election, and it was on a November presidential election day, the first time Clinton was running. My brother was the Democratic chairman of the city party in Jersey City. I was running opposed to their candidate. He put his name on the ballot, never spent a nickel or a penny to get elected, and virtually every penny I spent in that campaign, most of my own money, it was a ballot of 19 people, all pushed together, and whoever saw a Manzo, wherever they saw it first, if they were voting for me, they were pulling that lever. He pulled 6,000 votes, okay, in the middle of the pack. Actually, he was A1 on the ballot. He drew right under Clinton, as luck would have it. In the drawer, I was in the middle of the pack, but he drew 5,000 votes, and it was enough to allow actually the first Republican mayor of Jersey City, Brett Schindler, to win, and by about, I think it was 1,100 votes, and Schindler went on to become the mayor.
So one Manzo on there, and there would have been.
Yeah, it would have been a much different. People didn't even, he didn't even register in polling, and people were just confused by the ballot positioning. We had argued unsuccessfully in court that they shouldn't put the ballot under the presidential because it was a special election. Judge overruled us at the time, but since then, most ballots for special elections in November elections are put off to the side.
Okay, but obviously you did not disown your brother over that.
No. Thanksgiving dinner was a little difficult that year, but no. He went on to help me a couple times when I ran for mayor, and he was a good supporter of mine, throughout my life. I also supported Glenn Cunningham in his run for mayor in 2001. I was in that race. I missed the runoff by a couple hundred votes, and I endorsed Glenn. Glenn went on to become the mayor of Jersey City, and then wound up in a battle with the Hudson County Democratic Organization, which I think is infamous in this county. He decided to seek the Senate seat. The organization decided not to back him. Glenn asked me to run for assembly with him on his ticket. I think he also asked Anthony Chiappone to run, and we formed a ticket in the 31st district. At the end of the day, we prevailed. It was, I think, the only loss that Joe Doria, who was then the mayor and someone ever had in his political career. Went on to serve Bayonne, and somewhere within that year, or within the 2 years that Glenn was elected, he died. He passed on. The Senate seat was open, and I felt that there had to be a continuity to represent this district, and much to the chagrin of a lot of people in Jersey City, I supported Joe Doria in his run for the Senate that year. And we hadn't even discussed whether I was going to support him or not, but I just felt it was what was needed, what was the right thing. Joe prevailed, and we developed a very good relationship, working relationship on behalf of the citizens of Jersey City and Bayonne, and developed a very good friendship over that. So
well, it matters what people in Jersey City think in the 31st district.
Mm-hmm.
For people that don't know, because 1/3 of that district is made up of all of Bayonne, and then the other 2/3 is about 2/3 of Jersey City.
That's correct. And it was hard, because there were Jersey City people on the ballot, but we did manage to convince the majority that Joe had the experience in the legislature, and with the problems that was happening, especially with the loss of the city's mayor and people jockeying for that position. We needed stability, at least in one of the offices, and by and large, the best man I saw fit for that was Joe Doria. And believe it or not, it was tough for me, because I had Tony Chiappone ran for the Senate, and he was my assembly colleague. We had come in on the ticket that defeated Doria, and it was tough for me to explain to Tony my reasoning on why I was supporting Doria, but that was the way it went down.